Hey guys, welcome to another hashtag Sweet27 Goes Global YouTube video. The place for aspiring creatives and traveling gypsies alike come for tips and tricks on everything from living and traveling cheap, as well as how to progress your creative career. As always guys, we're putting a link to a blog article in the description below, so if you're more of a reader you can check that out, or if you like the sound of my voice we can get straight into it. Now this is a two-part video and this is part number 2. So if you haven't already watched part 1, which was last week's video, I suggest you go and watch it. I'll put a link to it somewhere around here. Now as I said last week, I worked for a couple of different startups and had nothing but bad experiences. And there are a few things that I should have looked out for and probably paid more attention to. But lucky for you, I've lived it and I'm here to share my experience with you, so hopefully you don't go down the same path that I did. Here are some things you should look out for when working for a startup. During your job research and interview process, try and figure out how the startup company that you're applying for makes money, i.e. what their business model is. Now let me give you an example. I was working for a tech startup in Vancouver. It was essentially a messaging app. It was available for download on the iOS and Google Play stores. Seems legit, right? Of course, it was free to download, but so are tons of apps. Essentially, apps that are free to download sell advertising space to other apps within themselves to cover their costs. So I know what you're thinking. The app I was working for sold ad space to other apps to cover its costs. Nope, we're a free app that didn't sell ad space. Pretty interesting business model, right? How'd I even get paid at all, you ask? Well, it's pretty interesting. Every startup company goes through different stages of investment. Here's my understanding of the process. It starts with someone who is classified as an angel investor, an individual who invests his or her own money at an early stage in exchange for a share of the company. The early stage of investment is referred to as seed investment, which is essentially a preliminary investment stage which is geared towards helping a startup founder establish the direction and goals of their business. The second stage of the investment process is called the incubator stage, which is essentially where a business gets sequential rounds of investment from mentors who again get a stake in the company. The money from this round of investment should be used by the startup to get an office space and help build a team, i.e. pay the employees' wages. There are several other steps, but the company that I was working for was somewhere in between the seed investment stage and the incubator stage. Essentially, what was happening was that mentors from the incubator stage were taking in turns month by month to cover wages to keep their stake in the company. This was how we were being paid. And the reason that we were getting paid late all the time was because it was a poorly set up incubator stage. Instead of money from the mentors being paid directly into the company's bank account and then into ours on time, it was being paid into a non-business account and then transferred into another non-business account where someone from the company would then take the money and go to each of our respective banks and make a personal direct deposit into our accounts. Pretty bloody dodgy, right? Now, from my understanding, what was going on in the company that I was working for was that the mentors were not seeing any return on their investments in the form of business growth. Essentially, the app was a money pit. So when it came time for their turn to cover wages for the month, they were pulling out, essentially leaving the company with no money to pay their employees. This is why we were getting paid late all the time. My understanding of the general consensus was that they planned to get the app to a certain amount of users and sell it, which is fine in theory, if the product or service that your company is offering is not already in a saturated marketplace, and if your product has a big enough point of difference to help differentiate it from the rest of the competition, which this app was not. The whole situation felt like the little pig who built his house out of straw. Now, we've all had weird job interviews. I would say the weirdest come from when you apply for jobs off Craigslist. Like when you get invited to a 60-year-old lady's house to discuss video editing, or you get told to meet in a pool hall in a shady part of town for an art assistance interview. Yes, they both happened to me. But the startup that I mentioned above, their interview is probably the most weirdest of all. They interviewed me in a random Starbucks. A tech startup with 40 people interviewed me in a random Starbucks. Now, this can be hard to figure out, but you really want to try and know why the person who previously had your position left. Now, you can scope this out in the interview process, simply by waiting for the cookie cutter question that you get in every single job interview ever. Do you have any questions for us? Politely ask the question, why did the person who previously had this position leave? Getting an answer to this question will give you a good understanding of the environment that you're going into. Now, during the interview process with the app, I forgot to ask this question, and it got to my first day. I was very excited. I had a freshly ironed shirt that I had just purchased from the op shop the day before, solidly tucked into my pants, and a big can-do smile plastered across my face. I walked into the repurposed retail space and was quickly ushered into the back room and told to stay there. It turns out the gentleman who I was replacing hadn't been told that his services were no longer required. The minute he arrived that day, they turfed him out and then gave me his desk, still smelling of his aftershave. Now, the way in which a company treats their current employees, but also their previous employees, can tell you a lot about their culture. Now, I'm not sure who's been on a physical sinking ship before. I certainly haven't, but I assume the feeling is very similar to being at a company that's about to go under. In the office, all you can hear is the squeaking of office chairs and the rustling of paper. The tension is palpable. You can cut the atmosphere with a knife. And when someone from the company's inner circle gets a paper shredder out and starts erasing documents suggesting that the company ever existed, it's probably time for you to dust off the old resume and start looking for new work. Now, that's not to say that all startups are going to be like the one that I mentioned today. There are a lot of good ones out there. To help ensure that you get a job at a good one, take into consideration all the points that I raised today, and it will help make sure that you get the most out of your employment. Thanks for watching today's video, guys. It's actually the end of season 1. Thanks for making it to the end with me. Leave a comment below and let me know which one was your favorite episode and the one that you found the most informative. We're actually going to be taking some time off now to write season 2, which is going to be geared more towards living and traveling cheap. So that's very exciting, but that's going to be a little while away. So if you can, guys, like the video, share it with your friends, and follow us on social media so you can keep up with all the other work that we'll be doing. Until next time, guys,